Okay, so we're live now, so people can hear us, so we can do a mic check.
All right, I'm sharing it.
Hang on, mic check.
I need to share too.
Ordinarily, this would be where we would put the theme music, but we don't have any yet, and so it's just going to be us bantering with each other.
I asked people if anybody wanted to send us a theme song, and there's a kid that follows me on Instagram named Seth, and he's a really good musician, and he actually lives in this town, and so I was really hoping he would do it.
Well, he hasn't come through yet. Maybe he will, but it's either a theme song from somebody, or it's our little cover screen, and then us chatting inanely while we check the mics. Check. 1 2. Tap. Okay, so we got about 30 seconds here, and then we're gonna go. Oh, and I got a big surprise. I was telling Johnny that I got a big surprise that I'm gonna unveil this week.
On the
he
show?
asked me if I learned. Well, he asked me if I learned anything about the software, and I did. And so I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to reveal it to all of you guys at the same time. So I would suggest that you sit down.
Do I need to lower my chair more?
Well, even more than it is. Yes.
I wouldn't lower the chair, but I would actually lay on the floor maybe and watch from there, because it's entirely possible that you're going to faint.
That's a pretty big setup.
Yeah. Okay, well, here we go. We ready to go? Everybody look at the screen, because this is going to be amazing. All right, I gotta make sure. Are you watching, Johnny?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
No, he didn't.
What? Moving graphics?
Oh man, this guy. Somebody learned Photoshop.
Well, I guess we don't have to ask what you've been doing.
Yeah.
I animated our logo.
That is 21 solid hours of work.
Yeah.
From John Branyan.
Well done, man.
Uh-huh.
You did that with a Razor flip phone. I can't believe it.
I also mowed. Let's go outside and look at my yard. Come on.
Come with us. Join us. I got a little. I'm looking a little red. The red shirt brings out. This is not a good. I'm sorry for everybody.
Well, I look dead. I've been messing around with this light for 15 minutes, and I can't. I look like I'm dead.
Yeah, you're a little pale.
Have, like, headphones and mics and all that, and I don't have any. I feel like I'm way behind.
You are, Bob. This is called an interface, and what you have is an outer face.
Look what I got. I got a good job, Boomer.
Do that.
I heard now it's Zoomer. Okay, Zoomer, because everybody's on Zoom. So when you teach an old person to do a conference call.
Thanks for that. Boomers represent. Okay, before I got a little story that I want to share with you guys, and then Bob has to tell his story that he told Johnny and I after we signed off last week.
Oh, okay.
But it's my wife's birthday today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, very nice. Happy birthday.
And so everybody, the grandkids and the kids, wanted to surprise her, but of course it's illegal to get close to each other now. And so what they did was they coordinated that they pulled up. All three of them, they all live in different houses, my kids and the grandkids, and so they all pulled up in front of our house in like a big caravan, and they started honking the horn. And then when Lori came out, and then they sang happy birthday, and they left presents and cards and things on the steps, and then scurried back into their cars so that we wouldn't infect the entire population. Wiped them down. Right.
She had to fumigate. She had to put a fog bomb out and fumigate the entire area.
Right. So we hear all of this. Honking, and we go outside, and of course I'm filming it because that's my job. And but it was surreal to have all of to come out on the front porch, on the front stoop, and have all of these people like looking out the window at us like they were driving by. It was like being in a zoo. You know when you drive past the lions and you go, oh, there's the lions. It was surreal. It was kind of like,
and then you're like trying to take a nap. You're like, oh, he's just sleeping today. He won't come out.
Well, it's like Luke, my son-in-law, said it's a little bit like Jurassic Park, where they're all in the cars, safe. And then
they have to lure you out with a goat.
they lured us out with cupcakes, not a goat.
That's nice. So true story, Nashville Zoo, which is a pretty cool zoo. I went there for the first time last year. Curry goes all the time. My wife, she takes friends. They go all the time. So I go, I'll go with you. It's the hottest day of the year. We go. It's miserable, but we're walking around and we go into the bathroom. In the bathroom of the Nashville Zoo, I'm getting ready to wash my hands. I turn around. There is a window, not a mirror, a window, and animals are being displayed on the other side of the sink. Some kind of marmot or marmoset or lemur. Something is watching you as you pee. And then, I'm not making it up. And I don't know if I think there's something in the women's too, because I ask her, I go, tell me there's like a display, an animal display. It's a great idea, but it's so weird and creepy. Like, the animals are like, this is what we get. Like, we get to watch you defecate. I don't understand.
Well, we get to watch them. Turnabout is
That's true. Play. That's true. It's the same thing. And but I think it should be funny. They should teach the animals to train them to like give an alert if you don't wash your hands. They should start squeaking and screeching. Like, oh, we got one. Yeah, we got one. He didn't do it. He's spreading disease.
There's squeaking and screeching while they're flinging their own poo.
Yeah, no, this is how you do it, and they throw it. Yeah, we got accused of talking about poop too much last week, and I won't have it. We're going to class this show up,
clean it up.
But it is odd.
Were you able to find a cake? Did you get her a cake?
I made with my own 2 thoroughly washed hands, raisin cinnamon bread.
Oh, that's nice. So you're a baker. Look at you. Renaissance man.
I have a machine.
We're going to have to be, because Sarah's birthday is Sunday. And so I went to I was going to order her a cake, and have them write her name and all that kind of stuff. And the bakeries are all shut down now. So I was able to get one generic cake, and I'm going to have to try to write on it. I've got a sock with a hole in it, so I think I'm good. But
that's all you need.
There was 2 cakes left whenever I went up there. So
you were like, this is what we got. Happy bat mitzvah.
All right. I want to ask you guys something. Smiley, you got to tell your story. But have been getting this. That Jeff Goldblum and I sound alike. Is that a true thing?
I get it. Yeah. Seth Brundle, I think was the character's name. Dr. Brundle.
Well, but do I sound like Jeff Goldblum? That's my question.
You don't have he hadn't developed his Goldblumisms where he kind of stops and rolls into every thing he says.
Like he's about to present something to you.
Yeah, he does that now, which, by the way, that's the best YouTube video series ever, is they took the old Apple ads that Jeff Goldblum did for the Macs and everything he did in the 90s and early 2000s, and they slowed them down to like half speed, and it's called Jeff Goldblum Drunk. And it's just him going, what would you want to do with a Mac? And it's amazing. It's just, all it is, slow it down, and Jeff Goldblum is drunk, and it's wonderful.
Well, now we know what we're going to do with next week's show.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Smiley,
go ahead.
Tell everybody what you did. Tell everybody the story that you told us after we finished podcasting last week's marathon podcast. Smiley dumped this on us, and Johnny and I both said, "Why didn't you tell that story?"
Yeah, what are you saving that for?
On the air, because it was way better than anything you said in the hour and a half last week.
Here's the reason why I didn't share it, because it seems so normal to me, because this is just what we do. But I forget that not everybody lives like we do. But 3-4 weeks ago, I took the boys. We have a creek that runs through the city and then goes out into the country. And so we were walking the creek, and it's kind of cool because at one point there's this big tunnel that you can actually walk in. And I mean, it's like a 7-foot tunnel, and you actually can go under the city, and there's water. And so there's little catfish and perch and stuff. But then if you stay on the creek, it goes out, and there's little drains that, has the runoff water from the city and stuff. But it's a regular river. And so we were walking around, and Trent, my 17-year-old, decided to crawl in this drain pipe to see what was in it. And so he's 6'2", and so he fit in the drain pipe, but he couldn't move his arm.
Okay, I want to stop you right there just a second. You guys remember that he prefaced this with, "This just seems normal to me."
Yeah.
And
just reaching into random tubes just to let's see what's in there. I
my
barely
son wanted
fit.
to climb into the drain pipe to see what was in there. This is all normal. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, he might find a nickel, so it'd be worth
True.
it.
That's
But
big.
he had a headlamp on because this was at night, and so he's inching his way in and going, and then all of a sudden he looks up. In the headlamp, there is a huge. Well, no, actually, it was a baby nutria rat. This little baby nutria rat, and
Which I didn't know what was. I didn't know that was a thing.
yeah, they're vicious. Well, the little baby nutria rat comes running right at his face, and so Trent grabs it and pins it down like you do, and all of a sudden you hear this big screech, and the mama nutria rat was up in that drain as well. And so he just takes off, and they've got these two big sharp like teeth, like buck teeth, like real that are like razor sharp. And so it comes right at him. So he lets go of the baby nutria rat, and it just starts crawling all over him and everything. And the mama nutria rat is just running right at him, and he pins it, but now he can't move. Like he can't wiggle back out. So he starts yelling for Xander, his younger brother, to get in. And he's 6'2", like 260 pounds, but he gets in that tube and pulls Trent out. And so he pulled Trent out of the tube, and Trent came out with this nutria rat. And so
Not the big one, the baby and the big one?
the big one, the baby left. The baby, yeah. And I mean, it's gnashing and screaming and all this. So he grabs it, and so I grabbed the back end because it's it's like trying to claw him. So I grabbed the back end and we pin it on the ground. We're like, okay, we're going to let go in 1, 2, 3. And we let go, and it took off. It went immediately into the river and swam away. And we were just sitting there, and kind of like a zombie movie, he goes, "Oh, she got me." And it had bit him just barely, but it sliced him, pretty bad. And so we went back home where my wife was. And I said, "Hey, Trent got scratched. I'm going to take him to the ER and see if they need stitches, because I didn't want to, wigger out." And so we left, and we went to the doctor, and the doctor's
Didn't want
like,
to tell her that you let the boys climb into drain pipes.
She's like, "What did I marry?"
"Yeah," because
Exactly what she's
her
saying.
her two boys have started going with us, and this is all new to them. So it was a pretty interesting night. But when you go to the doctor's office, if there's any kind of animal bite, they snitch on you and they tell animal control. So while we were in the ER, all of a sudden,
They snitch on you.
Yeah, well, they do. And because I didn't want Sarah to know exactly what happened. And
What do they do? Declare war on nutria rats? I don't understand.
Yeah.
What can happen?
I don't know. I guess
the perspective of a Disney animal movie.
Yeah, well, they said they had to report it because they wanted to know if animals, were attacking people or what was going on. But
you attacked the animals. They were just living their life, and you injected yourself into their world.
That was. I pay taxes. That was our pipe. But we just put a
Paid
video
for that sewage.
Yeah, we just put a video doorbell in, and so while we were at the ER waiting to get his first rabies shot, Sarah texted me and was like, "Watch our video doorbell." And I watched, and it was a cop that came up and knocked on the door, and he was like, "I was told that a kid got attacked by a nutria rat and got bit here," and she was like, "Not that I know." So it was a real bad situation, but so he had to get
your story straight as a family. Listen, there was no rat.
You guys get this quote? You guys see the quote?
Yeah,
rather than unusual size. That's right.
That's what it was. They're
Beautiful.
They're like a small dog. They're really
That's not a rat. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Another way to say that is a really big rat.
Your child in no way was scared by this. He just like, "Hey, let me get out of this pipe while I hold this rodent down that's gnashing at me."
I was pretty proud of him for like thinking through, like, first of all, being able to pin it, and then knowing that he can't let it out until he gets out where he can move.
Yeah, it's a strategy thing.
It's I feel like I'm raising him right.
He was pretty proud of him, Johnny. He was proud of him.
Yeah, as he should be.
I shouldn't say that.
This is going to happen. This is not.
What are you going to go
last
back
time
to
it's
do?
gonna happen.
I need to know what you're going back with and what you plan to do.
It's just fun to walk the creek. You see snakes, and my kids like to catch snakes and turtles and all sorts of stuff. It's just nature.
So how many rabies shots does he have to have now?
So here's
right in the stomach, right? Don't they go in your stomach?
No, not anymore. So here's what they do. So he got bit on the arm.
Yeah.
So he had to get 4 rabies shots in his arm, and they scattered him out. Like he had one, and then like 3 days later he had to go get another one, and then every other week for 2 weeks he had to go back and get another one. But that's not the worst part. Like that hurts, and it's a lot of injection and stuff. But they also have to do what's called a hemoglobin, and they have to do a shot all the way around the bite. So he had to get about like 80 shots around the bite that was already, slightly open.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that part was not fun to watch. Like it was
That's
awful.
Anyway, welcome to our comedy show.
Yeah, jeez Louise.
That's just another normal day in the Smiley.
Steve Irwin. It's a whole Steve Irwin thing happening, man.
Well, you know what he said? Like when he got his very last one, he goes, I can now attack any animal because it doesn't matter if I get bit. I am invincible.
He thinks he's set for life. It's like a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
How many banjos in your house?
That's crazy though. I'm terrified. Like if a bug lands on me, I'm not going to scream, but I'm uncomfortable. This is a kid actively reaching into sewer pipes going, I wonder if something's alive in here.
Yeah.
That is so weird to me.
Oh, I'll tell one more really quick story. We were driving in a Gator. You know what that is? Like a
like a golf cart kind of thing.
Yeah. And we're driving at my parents' ranch. It was the middle of the night. We were just spotlighting and stuff. And all of a sudden we came up over this hill and there was a pack of feral hogs, and they had a bunch of babies. And I was like, oh, cool. Look at that. And all of a sudden Trent just jumped out of the Gator and took off running into the night. And he had a headlamp on, so I could see it bouncing around. And then all of a sudden,
you need to take his headlamp away.
Yeah, I know. That's like his cape. But he ran down that herd of hogs and caught a baby feral hog. And that did kind of get scary because the moms will attack you. And so I had to run out there and be like, let the pig go. But he caught with his bare hands a feral hog.
It's like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
He's just chase him down.
I'm not worried we're not ever going to go hungry. Like we will always, as long as I have
crazy. Can you eat wild hog meat? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah.
But you're supposed to kill it and cook it first. You're not supposed to just grab it off.
Yeah, he just grabs whatever and just digs in.
Yeah, they get a bit loud when you start gnawing on them. Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you hunt growing up, John?
Oh yeah. Oh, what?
Bob did, yeah. But did you, John? You seem like you didn't grow up with that kind of.
I do, huh?
I don't know.
How do I seem like I grew up?
You seem like you did not grow up around guns and hunting. Maybe a gun for protection in a vault somewhere in a drawer, but not like a gun, like guns in the house. Like Bob's got 50 guns behind him. Probably we just don't know exactly.
Actually, you have a gun behind me.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have a crossbow.
I'm not like anti-gun. I think I do enough jokes about it. People think that I'm like an anti-gun guy, and I'm not. But I just didn't grow up like that. My dad wasn't like, let's go hunting, son. Like I didn't have that. So what was your experience, Brandon?
My
Indiana.
Experience, I killed my first bear at the age of 3.
Wow, that is something.
With toenail clippers.
Yeah.
You grew up in Indiana,
he had it coming,
right?
I grew up where?
In Indiana.
Yeah, I was in Indiana. Somebody's got to live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in the suburbs, and there was no. I mean, I could have hunted. I had family that hunted, but I didn't. My dad didn't, and so we didn't hunt. I didn't grow up around guns. Did you?
No. No, Bob obviously did. No, Bob obviously is like he's like the outdoorsy guy. We didn't go camping or anything. We just were very indoorsy people. And it's prepared me for this moment to be just trapped inside. I know exactly what I'm doing. I can plan my day. It's wonderful.
I don't have to have rabies shots.
There's no hugging, no learning. Just like remember the old rule when they would write episodes of Seinfeld? The rule was no hugging, no learning. That's what we have now. No hugging, no learning. Just wait it out. We'll see you in May.
2025.
That's right.
Have you guys
what?
been getting out? Have you been getting out? Like so in front of my desk, I have 2 windows, and yesterday I looked, and my 2 neighbors across from us, they were just standing out in the yard. They weren't even talking to each other. They were just standing out there, just staring,
absorbing the sunshine or whatever.
Guess,
Yeah, just
you know.
Huh.
I went to the grocery store yesterday, and we've had this. I guess Trump or somebody said that they recommend that everybody wear masks.
Yeah.
And so I guess, so I was at the grocery store, and there were probably 50% of the people were wearing masks, but they weren't like masks. Like a lot of people had like scarves tied around their
bandanas
face.
and stuff. Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't, I didn't say anything, but that doesn't do anything. All you do is look like a train robber. You're not really stopping any virus or infections from getting around.
I don't know. I think it's interesting. We're having a new problem because I saw it the minute it happened. I saw a story the next day that a woman went into Target and she shoplifted a bunch of stuff. And here's the photo of her coming out. She's wearing a mask, and they're like, "Well, we know what her eyes look like. Good luck, America." And they showed the photo, and I'm like, "This is the perfect time if you're a shoplifter to be in America." You're like, "Look, I'm just trying to stop the spread of this horrible disease," and you just go in and just load up your cart, knowing like unless you've got some distinctive forehead tattoo, you're home free.
Right.
Oh, so I went to the grocery store today, and so I had a mask and my gloves and everything. And as I was driving, I can't believe I'm telling the story, but as I was driving, I reached down and got my cup of coffee and took a sip, totally forgetting I had a mask on, and because I'm just used to wearing it now. Like anytime I go out, I just put a mask on. Yeah. And that's why I used to make fun of my big ears, but now they're really paying off because
they get something to hook the mask around.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, it keeps the mask.
You got more land mass to hook it, so you don't get so worn out. Because that's what happens. Elastic bands, they wear spaces, so you can move it around a little bit. It's like, all right, let's find a new.
I could be in a tornado. I'm safe.
Hey, here you go. Distinctive forehead tattoo would be a good name for a band.
I think you're right. That's good.
All right, I got to be. Our special guest is here, you guys.
Oh wow! Oh, that's great.
So we should move him to the front. We got a special guest here tonight.
Very excited.
And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw up a barrier here. No, I'm not. I'm just going to bring him in. Okay. And this was arranged by Mr. Smiley. And so, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. When I bring him on, then hit the clapping emoji or the love emoji or whatever. But, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mac Powell.
Yeah, wonderful.
What is up?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
We're doing well, man. Thanks for popping on.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
you got the full-on studio mic. Look at you.
Yeah, the studio mic here on my front porch. You'll hear you'll hear the turkeys and the birds and cars driving by. It's a beautiful thing.
Hey, that turkey video that you put on Instagram the other day, was that at your place?
Oh yeah, it was my neighbor's yard. I walked across the woods to see him fighting in my neighbor's driveway.
That's so. If you guys didn't see it, they're 2 gobblers that were fighting, and they bang their heads together and wrap each other. Like it's pretty aggressive.
Is that normally how turkeys fight, or is that like they have corona? Do we know? Have we tested turkeys yet?
I don't know. I know tigers can get it now. I've heard
that's what they said. Oh my God. And how did a tiger get a test before a human? That's what I need to know. Who's like, I know we're running out of tests for humans, but that tiger looks a little sickly. Let's triage him to the front.
If a tiger walks into the emergency room and demands a test, are you going to turn him down?
That's true. How would you say no?
Tigers are big right now. Tigers are real big right now. So their attention is on tigers.
So Mac, this is true. And I know you must hear this a lot and it makes you feel old, but when I was coming up, I was in a Christian rock band and you were like our favorite band and we covered a few of your songs in our sets.
Thanks.
And so we love. I mean, my favorite record of yours is Conspiracy Number 5. That's my favorite.
Oh wow!
And
Okay,
so we
great.
actually covered some songs when we do sets, and we went on to total obscurity as a band. So you would never have heard of us, but we were big fans of yours, and I know you've gone on to do tons of other stuff. But I know it makes you feel old. People are like, I grew up listening to your, but that wasn't really true. I was in my 20s, but still.
No, I dig it.
I love your music so much.
Thank you. That means a lot. I would rather hear you say that than hear you say, "My grandparents love you guys," which I've gotten a lot of.
Yeah, that's what Bob hears about his comedy. Like, my grandpa loves your comedy.
No, you know
much.
what I really hear? I always hear, "My kids love you. I can't stand listening to you now." like, what kind of compliment is that? Like,
I got
that's okay. There's a market for that.
I got mosquitoes everywhere.
Like being attacked.
Yeah.
It would seem like a good idea at the time. Hey, I'll be on the front porch. All the kids are yelling inside. I'll get out of that chaos and come out here. But no,
it would be a
candle out there.
Tragic irony if you, while under quarantine for the coronavirus, you contract malaria out on your front porch.
What a terrible,
Let's hope this doesn't happen.
Doing our little show. All right. Well, here's what we did last week, Mac. We told disaster stories because that's what everybody wants to hear, and so maybe you came on thinking, hey, I'll tell some exciting, glorious story of something that happened with Third Day, and it'll be inspirational. We're not really interested in inspirational stuff. We want to hear.
Get that.
We want to hear your favorite train wreck, the thing that was the night that that you'll never forget because it was just such a disaster.
Man, all those stories, they're never funny, really. And I don't like recalling them and telling them, but there were several. When you're a band for 20 something years, there's going to be a few train wrecks here and there. I recall one of the first times that we played outside of the state of Georgia. Nobody knew who we were. We'd been together maybe a year or so, and we got invited to play at Samford University, which is a big Baptist school in Birmingham, Alabama. So we were so excited to get to play outside of the state of Georgia. Well, the guy that we had signed an independent deal with was bringing this big PA system, and we were like, man, this is going to be great. We got like real PA. We got a real band. We got amps. We're like good to go. Well, it was so powerful, the PA this guy brought, that it blew the circuits like the breakers every 2 minutes. So we'd start a song, and then like every song for 2 hours, we'd have to stop halfway through. Now I know that's not funny, but you're probably looking for funny stuff. But that kind of stuff happened more than it should have.
No, that kind of stuff, those kind of stories just make us feel better because we all have gone through that kind of stuff with mics not working or people not showing up and all that.
Man, and the thing that really gets you is when everything goes. Here's the theory that I have is when we have a really crappy. Can I say crappy on the show? Is that allowed? Okay, we have a really crappy.
Just did
sound check, or did it get blurted out?
Yeah. Comment section is lighting up, man. Oh my God. I thought he was saved.
When we have, or is this better? When we have a really sound check, it goes, I think, okay, the show's going to be great. And when we have a great sound check, you go, oh no, that was good. That means the show's going to be bad. I don't know if you guys feel that way with
when I was in a band, we would do that. If we had a bad sound check, it means like, we got it out of the way. We got the bugs out of the way. It's like you're the beta test for the show, Yeah. But if it goes well, you're like, oh no, it can only go down from here.
You just reminded me of a story. You guys, like I toured with you and my son Coulter, I think he was like 4 or 5, and we were at home watching the Dove Awards, and it was one of the years that you guys just won a ridiculous amount of Dove Awards. And so Coulter knew you and had hung out with you, and so we're watching on TV, and you got up after maybe the 4th or 5th Dove Award, and you go, y'all, this is stupid. And Coulter immediately, so quickly, he was like, Matt, we don't say stupid. Like he said it out loud. I was like, well, Coulter, we got to.
You said the F word.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I totally forgot about that.
I tell you what, that I forget what year that was, but that was the year that we I think we had won 5 Dove Awards, and we got nominated for 5 or 6, and we thought, man, if we win 1 or 2, this is gonna be great.
Mhm.
We had no idea. We were blown away here, because you got to remember, back in those days, I'm not by any means were we one of the first Christian bands. There had been Christian bands 20 years before us, but it wasn't. Christian rock bands were not known on CCM radio, so there was this big thing that was changing in the kind of mid to late 90s, where things were shifting from this, individual singers, more classical styled singers, to rock bands. And so we were very fortunate to come along in a time like that. And it just didn't make sense. When people, it seems like, when I say this is like a false humility thing, but it really is. And it's so true that I tell people all the time, if we had had a little bit of success, and won a Grammy or 2, and had a few #1 songs, and sold, 2 million records or whatever, I probably would have a lot more pride. Because I would go, oh, look at this cool thing we did. But because it was, as I said that night at the Devil, we're so stupid, just beyond anything that we could have done on our own or from our own talents, we knew and realized it was way out of our hands at that point.
Yeah, it was great. That was so great.
You guys, this is stupid. That's the acceptance speech
Right.
Yeah.
everybody should make.
Well,
if I ever win an award, I'm going to say that. No one has even. I've not been even nominated.
Yeah.
But actually, I won an award when my last DVD was nominated for some, like it was like a Dove, but it's for like Christian video, IVCM or whatever, and it was the 3rd place for best comedy.
Nice.
So it's called the Bronze. It's called a Crown Award. They call it the Bronze Crown Award, and the people who beat me was like. Gosh, I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was a couple of films. And I was like, well, honestly, 3rd is what I would have come in if it were a foot race. So it's probably about right.
Yes.
Like there's no way. But when I tell people bronze, they go, bronze, that's, you won the bronze crown. That's 3rd place, right? Like somebody introducing me will say that sometimes. He won the bronze crown over. Is that 3rd place? Yeah, just bring me up. Just say my name. No respect.
Is that 3rd
It's
place?
a major award.
Yeah,
it's a very major award that I had to just tell you about so you would know about it. That's the thing. When somebody has to tell you they're famous, 100% not famous.
I've got a few of those on the shelves.
Well, next time you get 3rd place, you can stand up and you can say, you guys, this is stupid.
If I got 3rd place, I'd go, this makes sense. This is
Yeah,
this is great.
So you talk about Dove Awards. My buddy that produced the last CD we did was 2003, 2004 with my little Christian rock band, indie band. And the producer was a guy named Travis Wyrick, who produces Disciple and POD and Pillar.
Yeah.
You might know his name.
Yeah.
But he had Dove Awards on his shelf. And I told him, and they're hollow at the bottom. Like you can pull off the little felt and they're hollow inside.
Yeah.
And so I bought him online a little like a Magic 8 ball, like a tiny version of one. And we were going to put like great stuff foam in there and stick it in there. That way, if anybody ever like questioned his, decisions as a producer, like, I don't think you should put the drums there. He'd be like, let me see. And he'd shake the Dove up and kind of flip it over and be like, it says here that we're going to take my advice. I won the Dove.
Yeah. I used to do that with Grammys. I'd be producing somebody, I'd sneak a Grammy in and have it behind the couch. And they go, I'd go, let's see what Mr. Grammy has to say about it.
I'm getting a call. Hello? Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah. He always wins.
What
I'm gonna do that.
What have you guys been doing, Mac? Like you got everybody home and everything?
Dude, yeah. My oldest is 20. She's in college. She goes to Liberty University.
Yeah.
Go Flames. And it's in Virginia, if anybody's never heard of Liberty University. And she's home. Of course, all the kids are home from school. So I have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old who's a senior in high school, 16-year-old junior in high school, and then 11 and a 10-year-old. So everybody's here. And, I think with you guys, and I'm sure you've talked about this, there are times where each and every one of us have probably lost our cool at one time or another in the past 26 days, I think, that we've been here together.
Yeah.
But, man, overwhelmingly, the time has been so amazing. I mean, every lunch and dinner, almost all of us are together the whole time. Every once in a while, one of the kids will have a school thing where they can't make it to lunch or whatever. But for the most part, meals together. I'm not sure when the last time I've been home for a month like that. Yeah. It's been a long time. And, playing outside every day, we play outside and we play spike ball and wiffle ball. And we have walks every day. We have this driveway, that kind of circular driveway in front of our home. And I tell you what, I think as as crazy as the time is, and as wild as we'll all look back at it years from now and think of all the terrible things and the sickness and the death and all these horrible things and people losing jobs. Yes, I'm not going to argue with any of that. Those are horrible things. And I would not at all say, hey, I'm glad this happened. However, for our family, it's been a good thing, to be together. And who knows when we'll have a chance to have that kind of time. I think we're going to all look back on it in our family anyway, years from now, and know that it was a special blessing.
Yeah,
I totally agree. And, our lives get so chaotic and hectic, and then all of a sudden the world's on hold now. And so now we have all that time. We're a blended family, and it's been a great, that's really helped us to have all the boys home together and just playing basketball all day, and even video games and stuff like that. It's really brought them closer together. So there are some positives out of this.
Hey, Mac,
what do you think about this? Go ahead.
When you're outside with the family, Mac, have you captured any wild boars or rats as a family?
No, we're just in the turkey. Man, the turkeys are here every day. I'm surprised you can't hear them right now.
I like how Mac threw in the circular driveway just to let us know he's doing okay. He's like, yeah, you've got a huge sweeping circular driveway. It's the kind, where you pull in and you ask the price of the house and you can just pull right back out after you find out you can't afford it. It's that kind of house you guys.
I used to do real well. I'm a solo independent country artist now. So it's I'm glad I did well a few years back. It's funny. Somebody said something, a friend of mine said something yesterday. I don't even know how it got brought up. And they said, oh, you must be famous, and put the little emoji with a smile. I said, well, I used to be famous, but yeah, I tell you what, we're very happy where we're at. It's a fun place with a little.
Well, and you're still touring. What's the name of your new project that you're with now? It's Mac Powell, and what is it?
Family Reunion.
Family Reunion.
Family Reunion. Yeah. And it's so cool. Kind of Americana vibe, right?
Yeah, I've been doing this country / Americana kind of thing for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, I know that at one point soon I'll make some, another Christian album, and I'm excited about that. I've got some songs that I've been, kind of holding on to for a while now. So I'm excited about that, but it's been fun to go out and go into some places that, and I know you guys do this as well, going to some places that maybe not necessarily the first place that a person that's, of faith would want to go to hear a show, and maybe step out of my comfort zone a little bit and try to be able to speak into some people's lives who wouldn't normally come to a Christian concert. And so it's Bob's been to a couple of shows. It's a lot of fun, and yet at the same time we still get to share our faith through the music and hopefully encourage and love on some people.
He played this place called Do-Si Do's here in the Woodlands, and it's like a bar / restaurant, and they bring Tim McGraw and all these country music artists and stuff, and he got in and just rocked it. And that's where I want to give you a compliment, because that's where the first time I heard the song "Woo." Is it called Woo? It
is called Woo.
Okay.
Well, it's actually called Woo.
Yeah, Woo. Well, remember I asked you if we could use that on our podcast that Sarah and I do, and so we cut a little piece of it, and that's our opening part to our podcast. And we started talking, like we always start with what's good going on this week, and so we started calling it our Woo moment. And so we open every podcast with a Woo moment, and now people are sending us their Woo moment of the week. And they send the audio version, and they try to sing the Woo part. So I'm trying to create something that's a lot of fun for everybody.
That's great, man. And my attorney will be calling you tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I was worried about that.
Copyright infringement.
I kept that text where you said it was okay to use it, though.
Okay, it's totally okay.
Yeah, that can't be photoshopped. Whatever.
That's the kind of relationship you guys have, where he keeps the text
because
he knows that there's going to be some lawsuit in the future.
What about this, guys? I've been thinking about this a lot, and Mac, you can speak to this as well. This is a weird time for comics because everyone is just gathering rust.
Right.
And when we start back, everybody's going to be on the same level. It's kind of brought us all down. There's no shows on anybody's calendar really right now. So it's when we come back, I cannot imagine. I almost feel sorry for those first audiences that we get in front of. And I don't know if it's the same for a music artist. I've been a music artist before, and I was the lead singer of a band, but I can't remember a break this long where you're like, I'm going to need a teleprompter If we don't, if we're not practicing together, how are you going to remember? I'm worried about remembering my hour of jokes. You know?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
That you can just get back on and get back in the groove of things. But who knows? It'll be interesting. The whole world will be interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that because if I take 2 or 3 weeks off, then I get super rusty, and I'm like, what's it going to be if it's a couple of months? I'm going to be, to get to the other side is why the chicken crosses the road.
Yeah, your timing's all wonky.
It's all going to be messed up. And,
it's going to be disaster.
You got plenty of time these days, guys. Just stand in front of your mirror and rehearse that bit.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this show, you guys. That's why we're doing this show, to stay sharp, because we're banging on all 8 cylinders right now. I've never been better. This is as funny as I've ever been.
By the way, our friend Anita Renfro has already commented and said, "I notice it's all boys." It's like she's getting into. She's kind of
right. She is right.
Like, hey, it's not chauvinistic on purpose. It's just Anita will have you on. We're gonna have to have Anita on now to show that we
love Anita and John. They're awesome.
They're the best. But she just wanted to make an issue out of no issue, and that's fine. That's what she's a troublemaker.
Hey, let's. So real quick, Anita and I were on a cruise. I don't know. I guess a couple of months ago. It was like right when the people started hearing about coronavirus, and we had a couple of her husband John and me and my wife Amy. We had dinner together a couple times, and we had talked about some Netflix specials that we loved. And one of the things that I love about Netflix is just, so much comedy stuff on there, a lot of stand-up stuff. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of me becoming the interviewer for a second. For you three, what's 1 or 2 things, and it could be the same thing possibly, that really stands out for you, whether it's on Netflix or whether it's just something on YouTube or whatever? There's something that, besides yourself, that really that you love. You just love that. It's brilliant. For me, for example, is I love seeing, watching comedians in cars getting coffee. Because I love seeing Seinfeld's. I love seeing his love for comedy and just the all the fine details of it, and then also getting the opinions of everybody that's on the show. And they're not, not all the shows are amazing, but there's all this little tidbits of information that you can pick up on in every one of those episodes. So what's a special or a comedian special that each of you love on Netflix or whatever else?
I'll go first. Seth Meyers has a new one out, and it does have some, bad language and stuff in it. But at one point, he talks about his wife being a lawyer, and they felt like to have proper representation, because he had told a story about her, a stand-up story about her. He said that they decided that she should be represented. So he said, so the next, 10 minutes, I'm going to do stand up as her. And so then he just did stand up like he was talking about himself, as he was the wife. And I just thought that was a brilliant concept. I just thought it was fresh, it was new, and it was good. The jokes per minute were amazing. So that's a good one that I watched that I was like, oh, that's creative.
Yeah. My favorite special of the last couple of years is one that Neil Brennan did. He was a co-creator of Chappelle's Show. If you know Dave Chappelle, he co-created that show and was kind of like this silent partner in that. And his own stand-up has kind of come to the forefront now. But he did a special called 3 Mics. And it's an idea that I wish I had done myself. That's one of the reasons it was blown away. And it has some language in it. Like Bob says, these aren't all necessarily kid-friendly. But the concept of the show was he had 3 mics on the stage. And it was almost like a one-man show. So one mic would be for one-liners, and then one mic would be for straight stand-up, traditional monology stand-up, and then one would be for like heartfelt, like get to the root of the issue, kind of almost like a TED Talk type comedy, and where there's not really emphasis on laughs per minute, but he's going to get to the heart of things. And so every time he would finish a segment, like a 5-minute chunk, everything would go black like a play, and then the lights would come back up, and he would be at the second mic. And then he would go into a bit about whatever, his depression. And then he would go to the end and he would do a one-liner. And then he would go black again and he would be at the first mic again. And he did that for like an hour. And I thought it was so brilliant. I was like, why didn't I think of this idea? It was so cool. It's called 3 Mics. I think it actually won some awards. It's really good.
Cool.
But Neil Brennan is who I would pick.
I love that.
Why didn't you think of that idea?
I know, right? I have all those things in my show, but it's just I hadn't thought of like, how do I monetize this?
Yeah.
And I blew it, guys. That's why I'm on here with you.
Well, all of my influences don't use bad language because I take my faith very seriously.
Yeah. Right. Here we
Uh,
go.
So, actually, that's not true.
Not true at all.
The most inspiring thing that I saw in recent memory was a few years ago. I was at a comedy thing out in Las Vegas, and Tim Minchin was performing. Do you guys know who he is?
Yeah, of course, piano comic too.
Yeah. And he did. I'd never seen him before, and so he got up and did a whole concert, and he was. It was just brilliant from beginning to end. It was really, really well done.
He's a Brit too, so he's very sharp and very.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, he's got that accent.
Yeah.
Everything you do with the British accent is brilliant, brilliant. But his opening thing was it's just this drum. The whole thing is dark, and the drum starts, and he comes out, and it's just a spotlight on him, and he's just standing there. And then he starts looking at the floor. There's nothing on the stage. It's just him and the spotlight, and the drum is playing. And he picks up something. He pantomimes that he's picking up something, and he starts strumming the guitar. But there's no sound. And so he reaches down, and he picks up an invisible mic cord and plugs it in. And you hear it plug into the guitar, and then he starts playing the air guitar. And then he puts that down, and he goes over he sits down at an invisible keyboard. And so he adds all the instruments invisibly, to his opening thing. And then toward the middle of the show, he's doing this thing on the piano. It's this big, grand, what's the word? But like a ballad. And he's singing, and he gets to the interlude part of it. And as it's building, the stagehands start coming out. They're all dressed in black, and they got microphones and everything, and they start pulling out an extension cord and this electronic, and they wheel out a giant squirrel cage, a big squirrel cage fan. They push that out onto the stage, and they plug it in, and they're checking it and everything, and then they run off stage. And as he's singing, he stands up and he starts walking across the stage, and he's unbuttoning his shirt, and he gets to the bridge, and he stops singing. He throws his hands up, and he just stands in front of that fan, and his shirt blows back behind him for like 2 seconds. Then he turns around, he walks back to the piano, buttons up his shirt. The stagehands come out, disconnect everything, and wheel it off the stage.
Yeah. I love stuff like that. That's kind of like Conan talked about that when he was doing his show for years on NBC. He would call it like, I can't believe they went to all this trouble comedy. Like if he would write a joke about a horse, it could be a 4-second gag about a horse, and he would come out on a horse. They would go to the trouble of getting a horse just for a 4-second. He was like, I want the audience to be like, I can't believe they went to all this trouble for that 4-second laugh. So I did that in my show. I did a thing where I had a song, and I called my buddy John out. We had a mic brought out for him. A little stagehand taps the mic to make sure it works, and we sing a whole song, and John just stands there the whole song. And then at the end of the song, he harmonizes one note, and I go, John Driver, ladies and gentlemen. And then he just walks off stage. It's the same kind of vibe. But I love stuff like that, and I try to include at least 3 or 4 of those in my shows when I can. But I had an idea to put like a harmonica just in the room, and a spotlight coming down on the harmonica, just sitting in a stand, like on a mic stand, but it's up in the air. And then just like don't even address it the whole show, and then like one thing at the end of the show, just walk over and blow one note into the harmonica, just to have it be like this huge release valve,
Yeah.
I thought I'd do that with a tuba.
I grew up Church of Christ, so we sing a cappella, and so the song leaders would always have a little pitch pipe thing, like a little round, and I always thought it would be funny if I was performing in front of a Church of Christ crowd, and I bombed a joke on purpose, and then go, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys, hang on," and I pulled out the pitch pipe and like blew into it, and then was like, and then retold the joke. Like I thought that would be funny. And I bought a pitch pipe. I actually bought a pitch pipe.
Like the joke was just out of tune?
Yeah, just like I was out of tune. Like my joke was just out of tune. And I carried that thing in my back pocket for about 8 or 9 shows and never had the guts to try it. And then one night, this kid after the show, he's like, "Hey, do you have a can of dip in your back pocket?" And I was like, "Oh, I need to quit." Like,
you're getting the impression with the skull outline.
Yeah, I never had the guts to do it, but I always thought that would be a good idea.
I had a little when I worked on cruise ships, they always, I don't think they do this anymore, but you used to have to wear your life vest. You guys remember that? You used to have to wear your life vest and do the muster drill.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of every cruise. Everybody had to do it. All the passengers had to go out to their muster stations wearing their life jacket. It's how they used to do it. And there's a whistle on the life jacket. And so when I was working the ships, I would wear my life jacket down to the show, and I had a little whistle, like not a tin whistle. It was made of plastic, but it looked like the whistles on the life vest, but it wasn't. It actually had like 4 holes in it, so you could play a little tune. And so I would go out on stage and I would go, "Hey, I don't know if you guys, I know they told you not to blow the whistle because that was the announcement. Yeah, please don't blow the whistle on your life vest." Yeah. But if you practice a little bit like I have, you can actually, and then I would play like a little sea shanty on the whistle. I thought that would be hilarious, but they always just stared at me like, I don't know. They didn't think it was funny. I don't know if they
We're talking about not drowning, basically. It's a serious emergency preparedness thing.
Yeah, I had one of those one time. So I played trumpet in high school, marching band. Yeah. And at somewhere around the, I guess, late 90s, ska music was kind of growing a little bit, and people were playing, had horns in these little rock groups, had ska groups. And so there were a few songs on the radio. So ska was kind of getting, I wouldn't say big, but people knew about it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, how cool would that be? And this had been years after last time I'd played trumpet. I said, man, we had a trumpet solo in a song, and it was really easy. And I thought, man, I could do that part. I just practiced a little bit. So we were rehearsing here in Rome, Georgia, which is about an hour from where we live outside of Atlanta. And then we did we rehearsed for 2 or 3 days for this new tour. And I'd practiced that song, and we brought in like a bunch of friends and family in this arena to have a free show to see our first show before we go on tour. And I thought, man, this is just going to kill. I'm going to just get this trumpet out. I'm going to play it. And I did it. And I'd forgotten one thing is that you have to warm up with trumpet. So if you don't, you just start playing trumpet. My lip blew up like 4 times bigger than your lip is supposed to be.
Oh, wow.
And I played it, and I thought, man, it's just going to bring down house. People are going to be cheering. And everybody was just going, what's he doing with that trumpet?
It's not a very rock and roll instrument.
Yeah, it's not.
Shout out to the trumpet players out there.
That was the last time I did that.
I love those stories where you've got this idea in your head that it's going to be spectacular, and it's just the opposite of that. And
I remember the 90s and early 2000s worship, like people had like shofars. Remember the shofar era of worship music?
And you had so good.
That's right. I wanted to make a worship record called Shofar So Good. And you couldn't, you had to know how to do that lip action too. You couldn't just it'd be like, you just wheeze through it. Otherwise, it's not good.
You got to be serious. You got to be serious when you're blowing a shofar.
Right, man.
Shofar so good.
It was a different time. It was a different time in worship music. Just randomly blew on horns and vuvuzelas.
Well, it was... They knocked down Jericho with that. So
I had,
there you go.
Worked for them.
Never underestimate the power of a horn.
Talk about bringing down the house, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we got to do this thing. If from last week, do we have a minute that we can put the favorite quotes from last week up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Mac, you weren't here for this, but. Just see if I can figure out how to do it. All right.
I was actually here. I tried to get on, and you wouldn't ever put me on the show. So I've been here for a week waiting.
Yeah, he did the same to me. I'm with you.
For narcissists, Mac. You need to know this.
You guys,
we're not secure people.
You have no idea how deep the queue is to get on this show, everybody. We got people. Mac Powell waited a week to get on with us.
Right.
And you know who's behind him? Donald Trump.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to do this. These are the favorite quotes from last week. And you guys can make whatever comments you want about them. This is a graphic that I did. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
In the world. That is.
Just made that.
Sherwin Williams right?
Yeah.
The old Sherwin-Williams logo.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's
I
quarterly Chris.
want it to be noted. I did not laugh at that.
Yeah, that's a
I
little
didn't see that.
so dark. John, just show some respect. People are
Well, you know what?
hurting.
I should have done it in front of a squirrel cage. Discuss the difference between compote and pie filling. I think that's for you, Johnny, because you were the one who was talking about.
I don't know. I think compote and pie filling are very similar. Maybe one is more viscous. There's a viscous quality.
Now he's making up words.
We were talking last week about how one of the good things that came out of the pandemic is we're having to get to the deep stuff in our pantry that we thought we'd never eat.
I actually watched that.
Okay, yeah. So we're getting to the compote section of our pantries, and I don't know if there's a difference, but it's gone now. It's in here.
I'll be honest. I didn't know compote was a word. I thought you said it wrong. Or
yeah, you thought I meant compost, and you're like, please tell me he's not eating compost.
Yeah, and I just went with it, but I honestly didn't even know what that was.
It's a thing.
So there is no difference. Is that
we
what
don't
you're
know?
saying?
I think they're the same. I think it's where you live. It's kind of like the difference. It's called different things, different places.
Yeah. Okay, we're here to educate as well as entertain.
Like some areas of the country, barbecue means to eat the meat. That's barbecue is a barbecue pork, barbecue, and then some people barbecuing means grilling anything. Like we're gonna go barbecue.
Right.
I don't know.
All right. Next quote. They turned Smiley's internet off because of non-payment.
Oh.
That was because Smiley was having some issues last week, and I hadn't thought about this, but it actually is completely plausible that Smiley wouldn't make his internet payment.
No, I'm paying it. It was and I called AOL and so I got
5,000 more minutes. Man, we just dated ourselves.
Right. Hey, whatever happened to the unopened Johnny W. DVD on Tim Hawkins' bus?
That is a great one. You know what? I don't know. I thought somebody told me that they thought Bob may have it. You have it?
I have it.
That's like the longest running joke of the entire podcast. The whole Tim Hawkins tour is he would do a podcast, and then every now and again he would do a video version, and there's a Johnny W. DVD in the windowsill, unopened.
Right.
And he would reference it, and Bob would grab it every now and again, pretend to pick his teeth with it and just be disrespectful in general. Friendship.
Yeah,
and,
I would ask people to hand me the unopened Johnny W. DVD because it never got open for a year and a half. Yeah. And then when I knew Tim was kind of getting ready to take a break, I did take the DVD. And this is how bad the coronavirus is gotten. On week 2, we almost opened it.
Man, that's when things had gotten rough. You're like, we may watch these jokes.
Yeah. These are desperate times. If Bob Smiley's watching Johnny W.
We're letting the virus win. He's turning
the world.
It seems like it should be the first prize that somebody who's watching this show wins.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Ben L wants to know if he can have this hour back.
Yeah. We didn't know what we were doing. We don't know what we're doing right now.
Yeah. You can't have that hour back. You're not going to get this one back either.
Yeah.
Somebody noted that none of us could talk about toilet paper without showing an actual roll.
Yeah, it's like a show and tell. That makes sense.
And we did that. Did you notice that? That we were talking about toilet paper. We kept holding it up in front of the camera like nobody's ever seen it before.
You know toilet paper. In case you guys have never seen this, it's perforated here. You tear off what you need. Toilet paper.
We're so dumb.
It's just
go
stupid.
Into public with toothpaste foaming through your mouth.
Good.
So this person's recommending we go into public with toothpaste?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly why I like that, but
I don't know, John.
It should be. Anyway, if you got a mask on, it won't matter.
That's true.
Johnny, you should get John Driver to join you next time.
John is who I do my podcast with, and he's terrific, and that would be fun.
Well, I picked this because I thought it was nice of Christy to suggest other people besides Bob and I for you to do a show with. Yeah.
I remember, I think I may have it on my desk somewhere, but some kid made me a thing, like a little card when I did a show one time, and I read it. It was so funny. I read it on stage, and it was a little a picture of a face, and then I opened it up, and it said, "Thank you for coming to our church, Johnny W. Maybe you should come back another time." It was like they were saying, I know what they meant. It was like, why don't you go? I'm going to pencil you in for some other time. So it was like he was accidentally being snarky, and I thought that kid, he's my kind of kid.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Johnny. Do it some other time. Yeah. Jason E says, "Who needs earbuds? I duct tape my flip phone to my face."
To me face. So he's a pirate. Flip phone to me face. Paul McCartney.
I did actually. I was in Target one day, and I did see a guy, and he had the turban thing on, and he did have his. And this was actually years ago, but he had a flip phone, and he had it stuck in his turban, just hanging off the turban, walking around talking. I was like, that guy is a genius. That is an absolute genius move.
Yeah, he just made it work for him.
Yeah,
ingenuity, man.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what to do with a turban.
Yeah.
Ed W says, "Worst Bible study ever."
Can't disagree.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's our friend Ed Wiley. He's a comic too. You would love him. Check him out, Mac. If you've never heard of Ed Wiley, he's terrific.
Gotcha. Ed Wiley.
He's awesome.
Ed Wiley.
And it is a terrible Bible study.
Many people said this. Please mute Bob Smiley.
That's made up. That's made up.
That's an account. That's a Facebook account I made under the name Many People.
It's misspelled. It's supposed to be Manny. Manny people.
Many people.
That was the consensus that I got from many people. And let's see, last one. This is fantastic. All of my favorite comedians and John Branyan.
John Branyan. There we go.
We did that one time when I was promoting a show that we three did together. I did that. I shared it on Twitter and I said, guys, come to this show. It's going to be an amazing evening of comedy and John Branyan.
Yep, and it was.
Busting chops is a love language of comedians. We have to. If somebody's not busting your chops, it means they don't like you at all. If you're a comic,
I think that's just in general in life.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, it's true.
That's how. That's how you know that. That's how you know those people like you, especially guys. I hung up the phone with a friend of mine a few years ago. My wife was listening to my side of the conversation, and she says, "How do you even have any friends?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Do you know how you talk to them?" I was talking to my friend Jack, and I said, "If I talk to Jack the way I talk to you, he wouldn't be my friend anymore. It wouldn't."
Yeah. It's too touchy-feely. Yeah.
All right. Well, the old clock on the wall says that our time is up, you guys.
Yeah, time.
I'm sad about that because but Mac is actually disappearing into the darkness anyway. It looks like
front porch. It sounded good being on the front porch, and then
it's
now
kind of like the Emperor at the end of the Star Wars movies when he's getting a little bit more and more
evil.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. You're getting more evil. You're like, yes, let it flow through you. You're just, I don't like where you're going, Mac.
That's exactly what it's like. Exactly. Sorry, that was horrible.
It wasn't.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Check out Mac Powell and the Family Reunion.
Yeah,
great stuff.
And not just on my Hook, Line, and Smiley podcast, but he also has other music out there as well.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on, Mac.
My pleasure. Thanks
we'll
for
have
having
to
me.
do it again. If there's a if somebody, not you, Mac, but if somebody feels it in their soul that you want to donate to the Starving Comics, I'm putting a link up here. There's a link underneath the video, and then I'm also throwing this link up in the podcast or in the chat session. Maybe
none of this will go to Mac because he has a circular driveway. I want to say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
We could give some of it to Mac.
Maybe it needs to be repaved or sealed. I don't know if you've sealed it recently. Maybe if you want to reseal it.
Hasn't been sealed in 6 months at least. So
well,
we need to get to
that. It's a great time.
We could also chip in to buy some mosquito repellent for next time too.
Vanilla candle for next time.
I think I'm gonna stay inside next time. You know what? There's not gonna be a next time. Who am I kidding?
I appreciate your candor. Honestly.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, you guys. Take care. See you, everybody.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I'm sad our friendship is over now, but it was worth it. Just